Welcome to the year 2018 and the very first edition of Diplomatic Channel this year. I'm Temitope Fagbemi. 2017 ended on a high note for most Liberians who welcomed the election of former football star George Weah as the new president of the country. George Weah became involved in politics in Liberia following his retirement from football. He formed the Congress for Democratic Change and ran unsuccessfully for president in the 2005 election, losing to Ellen Johnson Sirleaf in the second round of voting. In the 2011 election, he ran unsuccessfully as vice president alongside Winston Tubman. Mr. Weah was subsequently elected to the Liberian Senate for Montserrado County in the 2014 elections.
I, acting on behalf of the Board of Commissioners, do hereby declare the presidential ticket of Senator George Manneh Weah and Joy Howard Taylor as the winner from the December 26, 2017 presidential runoff election.
George Weah's supporters celebrate his victory with spontaneous celebrations erupting across Liberia's capital, Monrovia. Weah succeeds incumbent Ellen Johnson Sirleaf next month after his opponent, Vice President Joseph Boakai, conceded defeat.
My love for country is more profound and intrinsic than my desire for the presidency. As such, a while ago, I called Ambassador George Manneh Weah of the Coalition for Democratic Change to congratulate him.
The president-elect, a national hero in Liberia, became the first non-European to win the European Soccer's Player of the Year award in 1995, the same year he picked up the African and World Player of the Year awards. King George, as Weah's supporters call him, is widely popular amongst the youth and the disenfranchised, especially in the shanties of the rundown seaside capital, Monrovia. Many of them feel they have not benefited from Liberia's post-war recovery, a sentiment that has counted against Boakai.
We expect the government to create job facility, create means, vocational schools, so that youth will go there and learn something, so that they will not even be able to think about going on the street to go cause trouble and other things. But the government, the present government right now, they pay less concern to that.
51-year-old Weah has served as a senator from the opposition Congress for Democratic Change since 2015, after returning home from an international soccer career to immerse himself in politics. As a political novice in 2005, he lost to Ms. Johnson Sirleaf in a presidential election. Liberians are eager for change after Nobel Peace Prize winning Sirleaf's 12-year rule, which sealed a lasting peace in a country that for decades had only known war, but which has failed to tackle corruption or do much to improve the lot of the poorest.
So what does George Weah's victory mean for Liberia, and how easy will it be for him to transform the country? My guest on the program, Dr. Wale Adiremi, says he's cautiously optimistic that George Weah's presidency will mark a new dawn in Liberian politics. Thank you very much for coming on Diplomatic Channel.
Thanks for having me.
Now, what do you make of George Weah's victory in the Liberia elections?
Well, I would say the triumph of populism. Liberia, the forced civilian-to-civilian transition in a post-conflict, society, 2 civil wars. I think bodes well for Liberia and for Africa. So I think, it's a positive. Yeah, and all the reports also, the NDI, the IFS, said the process we are very fair and credible,
So do you foresee any opposition to this result? Do you expect any contest to this result?
No, not really. Not now that the former vice president has considered. And you look at the, both camps, the CDC, seem to have, a law of the elites, the political elites backing George Weah. So I don't see anybody incredible resources to topple the process. So I don't foresee any, scuttling of this process, no.
Talking about important people back in George Ware, Mr. Ware's running mate is Joel Taylor,
Yeah.
the former wife of ex-President Charles Taylor, who is serving a jail sentence in the UK for war crimes. How well do you see these two people governing together?
Well, don't forget that in 2011, George Ware ran on the same ticket with Winston. It was running mate, and the alliance of the Taylors and Winston, goes way back. At that time, George Ware was, he was looking for consensus and, to build a coalition with a ticket I thought was going to win. So I would imagine that, this ticket, this Ware Taylor ticket, took shape, immediately after the aftermath of the 2011 elections. Now, what does that say? If you also look at the other supporters of the CDC, I would discountenance any serious, undue influence of the Taylors, on the ticket. Yomi Johnson, the former warlord, for want of a better term, even the outgoing president, were tacitly in support of Mr. Ware. So it would seem as if, there's overwhelming support for him. And the Taylors still wield, some significant influence in Liberia. But I don't think, we should read too much into it. So
you don't think Charles Taylor still has an influence in Liberian politics, despite the fact that he's in jail?
Yeah, not from Durham. He's serving time in Durham prisons. I don't think so. I think if you look at the power play, it's been, we've seen 12 years now of the Johnson Sirleaf presidency. You found the political elite has, almost undertaken a complete, metamorphosis from the time Charles Taylor was there. You have new elites, new political alliances, new, consensus, and all of those. So I don't think so. I wouldn't imagine that. No.